optimistic about the atheism, and I will say you why. But first, I have to evoke the atheist power.
The atheist. All right, let's channel the atheism together. Do we need to eat a baby first?
Yeah, because I can do that.
Okay.
I can evoke all the global atheism power because we see a lot of videos in the Christians say, "I will gonna punch off your face of the name of Jesus."
Mm-hmm.
I think we need an answer for that. So
yeah,
for that, I will say to you, in the name of the global atheists, I want to hug all of you in the name of the
I want to hug you too, Felipe. That's awesome.
That's the answer for the atheists. So the brutality of the Christians say bad words in your show, calling you. We have to discuss things with education, like the first call you will talk the guy who's very educated. I hope the Christians don't say bad words to you anymore.
Felipe, I very much appreciate that, but I'm okay with it. I'm totally okay with it, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm in a safe enough place in my life that I can, and I think that it's my responsibility to be able to do that so that you don't have to. The more that we can be out there for each other when it's safe to do that, the sooner that we can get the world accustomed to us, and the less next generation has to take care of. So while I very much appreciate that, and I hope that we can live in a world that's like that, until then, bring it.
Also, I'm pretty talented at saying bad words back, so.
Ooh, yes. Hey, there's no moral imperative that you can't. So there's that. What did you want to talk about specifically? I see a note in your.
Well, I want to ask your opinion about the one idea I have in mind. Because when they talk about religion, what religion sells to people, because it's a product. The religion sells to people answers. I don't know. Of course, we think the answers are wrong, but the religion sell answers for all the things like creation of the world. The healing with diseases, explanation about the things. I'm sorry, my English. If I say something wrong, I'm sorry.
You're doing great. You're good.
Well, I think when you look bad, you're not. If you're a Christian, when you look bad, you not go to the church. You go to the hospital. And is that because you don't want the promise of the healing? You want the certainty of the healing.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna with technology, the science. One day we discover the most important product what religion sells is that this product will be immortality.
Oh, that sounds good.
I disagree. I would not want to live forever.
Well, maybe not forever, but just like
science, we're gonna fix that one day. It's not religion. It's going to science. Who, if we get in that point, I think the science will discover another religion. And when we get in that point, I think all the religions of the world we're gonna disappear.
You think so?
Because the certain will be in the science, in not the religion, or not in the religion. Will be, if you, for example, transfer your brain for a robot and live forever, or doctors discovering a pill or something. I think all the religions of the world we're gonna disappear in the next generations, and I want your opinion about that. if you can understand my terrible English.
So your English is way better than my Portuguese. So you're you're really good, man. I promise. EJ, what do you think about that?
Well, I wish that I could agree with you that the religions would just disappear as soon as science had all the answers, but I mean, when you think about the whole God of the gaps thing, of God fills in the spaces that science can't answer, and science is never going to answer all of the questions because that's not how science works, and that's not really how the universe works. So, you know, when we didn't know what was above the clouds, and that's where God was, and now we know what's above the clouds, so, well, now we don't know what's outside the solar system. Well, that's where God is. Or now we don't know where, you know, we know what's outside the solar system, so God is somewhere else. He's in the space between atoms or things like that. So I think that the interesting thing about the construction of God is that it's flexible enough to move into whatever space it can find, which is brilliant if it weren't so infuriating.
Yeah. Damn, that was good.
I wish I could agree that science would be able to overcome religion, but I think as long as there are people who still have those questions of why are we here, you know, why do kids get sick, things like that, you know, those aren't questions that science can necessarily answer, and people desperately want answers to them. So religion is going to exist as long as people want those answers.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that, fear is probably always going to be around as long as people are afraid. Religion has a really good way of saying, oh, don't be afraid of death, there's more. You know, don't worry about your child, you know, in the hospital, because you have power over that. You don't need to be a doctor. You could just pray for them. And
you don't need that money. Give it to me, that money, because
you're investing it is what you're doing. You're planting a seed, and the Lord will pay you more.
Prosperity gospel.
Oh man,
praise the dollar.
Those people are the worst. They are among the scummiest human beings I can imagine.
Yep. That's about all there is to say about that.
Do you have people like that in Brazil as well, or do you tune into American megachurches?
Yeah, of course. In Brazil, we have a very powerful preachers, you know, that promise every single time of thing if you want to, you know, imagine. For example, there is a guy here with the name Valdomiro. Is a Christian of the mega church in Brazil.
Voldemort?
One day Valdomiro. This is a pastor.
Okay.
And a mega pastor in Brazil. And one time he said, well, if you want to we do a campaign in the church. You don't give the 10% of your salary, but 30%.
Yeah.
You know?
You get more.
And very nonsense is he cries on TV, man. He cries on TV and say, I don't have money to pay my yacht.
Yeah.
You know, my boat.
That poor man.
The guys giving to him money, and he cries, and you know, it's no sense. It's absurd what happened here.
It is. Hopefully one day, I don't know if we're ever going to get rid of the idea of God, but I hope that one day we can create a world where people like that can cry in jail. Because when you when you take advantage of the weak, when you take advantage of people who are on fixed incomes, when you take advantage of people who are dying to take their money, oh man, there is not enough justice. Yeah, there is not enough justice. So I'm totally agree, and we're making that world.
That's why work is important. That's why I'm your fan of your show.
Aw,
and
thank
all
you.
the atheists who work hardly for the better world, for the separation of church of states. You know, you guys, awesome.
Thank you. Felipe, that means a whole lot. Please keep in touch. Just talking to you now, there's so much that I want to know about what's going on where you are, because that sounds really interesting. If you are interested, go on Facebook. Check us out. We're
I'm
Talk Heathen.
right now.
You are? create a post.
Yeah.
And if you want to be involved in it, please, other people, check it out. I love being part of those conversations, and I definitely want you in the community. So if you could do that, we'd really appreciate it. And if you want to email us and you don't want to be on Facebook, you can email us at, are we ready? mail@talkheathen.com. I'm just going to see if it's coming up on the board. Let's see. 3.
Now that you want it to be there, it's not going to be there.
That's okay. That's okay. Felipe, thank you so much for calling. We really appreciate it. It's awesome. I'm really glad that that you called in and we got to talk about that. Keep in touch, okay?
Okay, Glenn. Bye.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
See, that just gives me like the warm fuzzies when you know that there are people on the other side of the world that just, well, not at the other, you know what I mean, elsewhere.
I kind of feel bad that my answer was, you're wrong, but...
Well, you know, the funny thing is being at the Free Thought Library, there are so many times when I'll say something and it'll just be, you know, an ism, it's a turn of phrase, and I'll say it, and then 3 atheists in the room will be like, hey, I read this really cool study that shows that you're wrong.
I'm definitely that person.
And you know, the funny thing is I am too. I love, and I'm totally cool with being wrong about things. I want to know more about the world, and I want to know as few false things and as many true things as possible. And so it's so interesting when you plug into that community and people are more interested in truth and finding truth than giving each other, you know, these false notions of, you know, yeah, I'm trailing off there.